Hello, welcome to Beverly Reviews. We're at Rattle and Home, which is quite a legendary beer bar here in Midtown, anyway. It's all in kind of the touristy district, so we're a bit kind of like, it's a bit unusual around here. But we've got a nice selection of beers. They have like, I think it's like 60 things on tap. It's crazy how much they've got. Loads of bottles, and this is our selection down here. So we've got Gonzo by Flying Dog, and Imperial Porter, which is on cask. We've got next to it is Fire and Blood, which is the Omegang Game of Thrones special, which is an Andrew chili kind of dark amber red ale. I believe this one's Bouncy House IPA, which is Smutty Nose from New Hampshire, which we were up in New Hampshire way over Christmas, but we didn't try anything by them. It's like 4.9%, so relatively low IPA. And the final one is Sawtooth by Left Hand. From Colorado, but it's one that's on nitro, so again it should have quite a creamy mouthful. That's an ESB, an English style ESB. So we'll start with the lightest first, which unusually the order is number 3. This is Smutty Nose's Bouncy House IPA. The 4.9%, kind of a session IPA, I suppose in certain terms. It's kind of a nice, it's kind of a strong wheat, but with like a twinge of apricot in there, really. Nice lacing on the head too. So let's get a nose on it. It's quite like a sweet orange aroma, really, and a little bit floral too. Nothing too intense. It feels quite preserved on aroma, at least. So cheers, everyone. Let's have a try. And on the palate, actually, it's really floral. A little bit soapy as well. I sometimes get this kind of like soapy bitterness to it. It's quite floral, kind of a little bit of soapy bitterness. There's not much in the way of sweetness, and actually, as the palate develops, it kind of gets more and more bitter, really. Quite single-faceted, really. I think these American, from the 2 I've tried, these American new kind of session IPAs, it's not their territory. They don't. I haven't yet done them particularly brilliantly, I don't think. The 2 I've tried, they both need some work to them. This one's quite soapy and quite bitter, and I'm not sure it's particularly easy to drink, really. Hey ho. Let's give that one a 7 out of 10, because I probably might have another drink of that, because it's a nice low percentage hoppy beer, but just not lofty heights of beer, shall we say. So let's go on to the ESB next, I guess, before we hit the 2 kind of speciality ones. So this is Sawtooth by Left Hand. They are known for doing, kind of the first to do nitro dispensed beers and bottled beers and things in the US. Quite well known for it. Milk Stout's meant to be really nice. So this is it's a typical ESB colour, like kind of ruby red, ruby ale sort of thing, brown ruby colour. There is a nice little bit of head on it, but the kind of photograph is quite cool. So we'll go for a nose. Actually, I cannot smell a thing. It smells of absolutely nothing. Really gonna have to really give a good inhale. There's a little bit of toffee on it, but there's not much in the way of aroma coming off the top of this, despite the fact I was expecting quite a lot more character. Anyway, we'll try it. Cheers. Oh, but it's much nicer when you drink it. The nitro gives such an amazing mouthfeel. It's super slick and creamy, and there's a lot of topping caramel in that. It's quite sweet and creamy too. It sounds unusual, but one of the things it reminds me of is Nigori Zaki, which is like an unfiltered sake that's got like a sweet, it's got a sweet creamy texture and flavour to it. It's rice kind of sweetness. It's got that same sort of sweet caramel and toffee, but it's another kind of single-faceted one. It's just sweet and a bit nutty. But the mouth feels good. But it's just kind of caramel and toffee. Again, not that impressive, unfortunately. I'll probably give this a 7.5, because I think not on nitro it loses a bit of character. So I think 7.5. It's pleasant enough ESB, but it's not all that in the bag of potato chips, unfortunately. So moving on, Omegang's Game of Thrones Fire and Blood beer, sort of dark ruby beer with ancho chilies in. So as you can see, it is indeed dark ruby, almost kind of twinging on the brown ale sort of colours going on. A tiny bit of heaven, and it's going to lace quite well. So on the nose. Oh, this is spicy. Wow, you could have told me this was a rye IPA and I'd probably agree. It's really spicy and kind of a bit smoky, smoky chili notes, I guess, which must be the ancho chilies really. But that definitely does pong compared to the other two. So cheers, let's give it a try. Yeah, it must be rye because it has this floral but spicy character that you get from rye beers. And then there's like a good amount of chunk and a little bit of sweetness and maybe some kind of floral hops at the end, and then you get this peppery, spicy chili. Like it's actually building with intensity. It could get quite hot in a second or two, I think, so I'll take another sip. And kind of the flavours of saison yeast too, that peppery, estery Belgian yeast strain sort of flavour. That one's quite interesting, that is quite nice. Despite the fact that Omegang are now owned by Duvel Morgat, that's a good beer. They clearly let them go to town and they do something interesting. That's an 8.5, that one. It's a good and interesting beer, it is. I quite enjoy that one. So finally, Gonzo Imperial Porter by Flying Dog. This one on cask. Oops, I'm flipping it. This one on cask. So we'll see what the mouth feels like with this one. As you can see, it's pitch black, dripping everywhere. It's completely pitch black. There wasn't much room to put a head on it anyway, especially off cask. So let's go for a nose. Oh, it's got really dry roast character to it. It's toasted and roasted and black malty notes, and a little kind of bit of sweetness at the back end of it, kind of chocolatey, dark chocolate smell. But it does smell good, does smell nice. So cheers, let's have a shot. It's a lot sweeter than I was expecting. It's almost quite plummy and raisiny. And then it dries up later on and you get the roast and toasty sort of flavours come through. It's got a nice and chunky mouthfeel from the cask dispense. It just feels quite chunky and it's helped the body quite a bit. It's not just kind of fizzy and cold. It's got like warmth to it, well, slightly warmer than cold. And those flavours perhaps have come out more in a plummy, raisiny, with a little bit of chocolate and coffee at the back of it. That's really nice actually. That is a really quite good beer, and I could definitely drink an entire glass of that one. Let's give that a good 9 out of 10. That's nice, the Gonzo Imperial Porter. And finally, I'm going to steal my mum's beer because she's got a company I've been desperate to try since I got here. It's the first place I've seen it. This is Barrier Brewing Company from Long Island. Barrier Brewing Company from Long Island. In a 6 points glass, which is kind of, a bit sanctimonious, but it doesn't matter. This is actually a cream now, it says. This is meant to be a Californian Common, but it's damn dark for Californian Common, which is kind of the hybrid lager ale beers, really. But it's kind of the same colour as the 8B, that kind of dark ruby, which is unusual, but whatever. Let's give it a good nose. And on the nose, it does smell quite sweet and toffee-like as well, and a little bit nutty, perhaps. Does smell very pleasantly. So cheers, let's have a shot. It's a lot crisper and simpler on the palate though. It does have that kind of caramel and toffee. It's almost Vienna lager-like. Roasted Munich and Vienna malts, a sweet toasted roast nose to it, with that crisp finish and the really fine carbonation of a lager, I guess. And it's smooth, it's really easy drinking. This one's a nice one. This is really nice. I don't think it's a Californian Common. I think it's more like a Vienna lager, but that's really nice. That is really nice. First try by Barry, and it's really good. This is a beer to go by the entire range, and I'll certainly want to try more of them before we go, but I don't think we'll see any, unfortunately. I'm going to give this an 8.5. This is a really quite nice, easy sipping drink. Doesn't break any barriers or molds. Don't think it wants to, but it's very nice. So there you go. Rattle and Mum had a nice selection, a couple of disappointing, and 3 of them quite nice really. So there we go, until the next day review, cheers.